couch and they're up all night, and that's how it used to be way back, in the day.
How's it now?
Now I stay at hotels if I'm playing out of town. So, I'm very select too. So like about venues and things that I do.
Got any hotel stories? Did you trash a hotel, anything like that? Are you looking at me like maybe?
No,
the rock and roll lifestyle on the road?
There is one hotel that will always stick in my mind, and it was outside of Sacramento, or it was in Sacramento, and I call it the Janky Hotel because it was the most janky hotel I've ever stayed at. And I remember we pulled up and we got like double, and it was disgusting. Number one, we like pulled everything away from the bed and we were like freezing cold sleeping in our clothes because it was like so gross. It was scary. And there was a water leak in the shower. It was like clunk,
the drop,
clunk, clunk, clunk all night long. And we called the front desk and we were like, can you move us to another room? And they're like, there is no other room. And we were like, Janky Hotel. We were so pissed.
That's a great album title. Janky Hotel.
Yeah. Oh, I've thought about using that before. I put it on a sticky note on the wall before. Janky Hotel, yeah. It's a good one. Anyway, yeah, just ridiculous. That was pretty bad. But there's been other situations where like my booking agent would be like, "Oh, I got you this gig and it's only you playing for 20 minutes and they're comping you dinner and you have a green room and the hotel is being paid for." And I was like, yes. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Anyway.
That's what you signed up for, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've noticed when I was looking at your stuff that you collaborated with, not Mickey Steele, Michael Steele, right? Is that...
Michael Steele from the Bengals, yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk about collaborating with her and like how that came about?
Yeah, so Sheldon, my old guitar player, the easiest way to explain it is my old guitar player and her were close friends, and she would come down from NorCal and stay in his house, and we were having rehearsals and recording actually at his house at the time. And so when I first met her, I was just like, hey, how's it going, whatever, and went into another room completely, shut the door, and had rehearsal. And after rehearsal she was like, your music is bitchin'. And I was like, thanks. And
were you starstruck?
Not really starstruck. She kind of seemed like very down to earth and easy to talk to and totally chill, and I felt like we were buddies like right away. Like it just meshed, Like, but I was like super stoked to meet her. I mean, I saw the Bengals in 1984 at the Warfield, and Prince came out and Sheila E. came out on stage. It was just an amazing night. But yeah, I mean, I was always a fan of the Bengals, and then I met her and I was like, wow, she's a really cool person. She's really she has a great sense of humor and she's really smart. And so she seemed like down to earth to me, like not like a star. So yeah, and then she started writing bass lines for the album for Weather Changer Girl, and then we recorded her. Her bass lines are amazing, and then our bass player actually took those bass lines and played them live. So like he was like, I like hers better. so it ended up that we kind of adopted some of the lines that that she actually wrote, and some of them are the best lines I've ever heard. I mean, they're so cool. Like for I Want to Be Your Matador, your bullfighter, on Weather Changer Girl. It's like the third song. She did this really cool like step down bass line at the end that's just like amazing. It's like and it goes down, 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 and it's just it like nothing even comes close. I just love it. But okay, and then when Busk came around, like we hung out. She moved into my house at a point and lived there for like a couple years off and on
in San Jose.
Yeah, And then we just kept playing music together here and there. Like when she'd come into town and stay for a while, like I would record her in my studio, which is at my house. So I would record her bass lines, and she ended up on Busk too. Yeah, I mean, we're still really close friends. So there will be more stuff coming from her.
Awesome.
Yeah, coming.
Like, do you ever, like, for me, I get this from my friends locally, where I'm like, where does this come from? Like you mentioned, like, her coming with that bass line. You're like, where does this come from? Like, what is it in their head that's, like, such awesome stuff comes out?
I mean, your guess is as good as mine. Like, the one bass line, it's like boom, 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 boom. It's like I never would have thought of that, you know. But she plays it up really high on the neck and then low on the neck, and it's just like it's so good. It just hits your heart, and it's the same. Like Cocteau Twins have a song called Primitive Heart, and I remember like when I first met Simon, because from working with him, when I first met him, I was like, Primitive Heart bass line, so amazing. And he's like, what? He didn't even know what I was talking about. And I hummed it to him, and he was like, oh yeah, that was a good one. You know? I don't know. I think that people just write and do like channeling. Sometimes I think people just get channeled. I don't know. I mean, with me, sometimes my songs feel like they're not even me writing them. They're just something takes over, and it's, oh wow, I wrote that. Like, it's kind of weird.
You're the first musician to tell me that on this podcast, because I hear that a lot, but from artists. A lot. I'm looking at Francesca. A lot of artists I talk to on this podcast, they say that it's not even me doing the art; it comes from somewhere else that they don't even know where it comes from.
Yeah.
You know, they say they have an emotional investment, sure, but they say a lot of them say that it's almost supernatural at what.
Yeah, I feel that pretty deeply.
Like that. Where did that go?
Yeah.
You know, the pen just fell off.
Yeah.
And you're the first musician to tell me that, so it's very interesting.
That's cool.
You've been hanging out with Francesca too much. That's what's happening.
No.
The buzzword is flow. Are you in the flow or are you not in the flow? Right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's the collective unconscious. We're all dipping into the same pool. I think
that's true.
That's a good point. Although I worry about like, what's my role in this crowd, in this whole collective thing? Like, well, what do I? Am I a good gear here, or am I a bad gear? I don't know. But that's just me being insecure about my shit. But anyway, moving on. Before it gets more
push
awkward.
Those thoughts away.
When I looked you up online, one of the first things that popped up is that you have actress credits.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
Uh-oh. What film projects were you involved?
One's called Some Prefer Cake. Some Prefer Cake, and it was filmed in San Francisco. And then the other one was Berta, which was really fun to do. And then the other one was, and then came Lola. Okay, so they were all feature films, but one was in 1995 or 6, and then I had like a 10-year hiatus, and then all of a sudden I did Berta, and then I did, and then came Lola. So really, it was just fun. I mean, I was like in San Francisco, hanging out at the park over near the Haight. Like, I was just hanging out at the park, literally by myself. Like, totally funny, but I was like hanging out there because I was killing time waiting for a friend to meet me. And she was running late, so, and we didn't have cell phones back in that time, so I was just like, okay, I guess I'm just gonna sit here. And there was a casting happening for the first movie, Some Prefer Cake, and the lead actress was like, who's that girl over there? Like, and the producer came